wrong logo, and I think everything's good to go. So if you were watching and you flipped over, now you can come back. There you go. The playoff rankings are out, and I think do we have the actual playoff field yet?
I have what the current projection is.
I don't want a projection.
It's just the top ranked team from every conference is the conference winner. Is what I did.
Do they have the bracket out yet?
I mean, that is the bracket.
Okay. What's the bracket?
All right. So the first game would be Arizona State at Penn State.
Okay.
12-5. Bama at Notre Dame in the 11-6.
Wow.
Indiana at Georgia in the 11-7. Tennessee at Ohio State in the 9-8.
Wow. Okay.
Miami misses the playoffs.
For now, yeah.
Oregon is the 1. Texas is the 2. SMU is the 3. Boise is the 4. So Ohio State and Tennessee would play Oregon. Georgia and Indiana would play Texas. Notre Dame, Alabama would play SMU. And Penn State, Arizona State would play Boise State.
I think Miami's definitely probably is the first 4 out. I think they've got it. They've got to. I don't know who loses would get them in. Penn State, maybe. Would that be no? Yeah, I don't think Penn State.
They're at 3 technically.
Georgia losing might get them in. Might.
I think they're technically at 5 in the rankings. Yeah, they're at 5 right now. They're not going to go from 5 all the way.
That would be their 3rd loss.
It'd be interesting. That would be the big discussion.
Yeah, that would definitely, because you're only getting one Big 12 team in, right? One Big 12 team.
The 3 losses are to 3 playoff teams.
No, I'm just saying they're all in the projection. They're only getting one Big 12 team in, one G5 team in, and 4 SEC teams.
It's 1, 2, 3, 4 SEC teams.
Yeah. Okay, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, I don't agree with that. I don't think the Big Ten's. They're talking about Oregon, Penn State.
Indiana.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I'm sorry. I know Indiana only has 1 loss, but I think Miami's better than Indiana. I think Indiana goes and plays who they play Georgia. Georgia's going to beat them by 30. 30. That won't even be close.
Miami will be watching it.
Anyway, let's talk about this game. I know you got a lot of stats you want to talk about, so if you want to hit the people with some knowledge about the Clemson Tigers.
Yeah, so Clemson, like I said, the name of the game for them is their defense. They're pretty big overall. I mean, 6'4" at point guard, 6'10" at the 3, 6'8" at the 4, but that guy is strong and physical. And then 6'11" at the 5. They've got 7'2" off the bench, 6'10", 6'8". It's a big team. Now, like I said, they don't get a lot of blocks, but they do rebound very well. Top 25 on both sides of the floor in rebounding. Like I said, it's very similar to Western, in my opinion. They get up on you. They have a lot of ball pressure. Like I said, they don't get a lot of blocks. One of the most important things when trying to beat Kentucky, if I was scouting Kentucky, I would say try to throw off the ribbon as much as possible. Get up, on the ball. On the guy with the
Miami is up 11-8, by the way, early on Arkansas.
Miami, I'll note, has lost 4 games in a row, and
13-8.
But yeah,
just saying.
Yeah, so they're a good rebounding team. Good on the defensive end. We'll get up on you with ball pressure. One thing is they're a better shooting team than Western, but they, like I said earlier, they don't shoot a lot of the threes. Not a lot of their points come from threes. They're in, I think, the hundreds, maybe the 90s % of points from threes, despite being top 15 in 3-point percentage. So I think it's a very interesting matchup. To me, it's good Western, if you can kind of imagine that. Good, bigger Western.
Good, bigger West. What do you think of Georgia's court? I don't know what to think about that. It's gray. It's got a bulldog. It's got a bulldog on it. It's got a dark gray and a light gray. I don't know how I feel about it.
I wish it was the bulldog with regular court. I think the bulldog would be cool if it was not also gray on the court. But
yeah, it's a very big bulldog. It's unique. It's unique. I'll give him that. It's a unique court because you don't usually see. I mean, I think doesn't Oregon have like a weird court?
They have the trees all around.
Yeah.
The the court.
They also have a fairly nice arena.
Or somebody has like a rainbow, something weird.
Is that not Hawaii?
They might too, but I think it's somebody in like Wyoming or that kind of area, like one of those strange teams that you don't really know what's going on with the people that are there.
Yeah. So for Clemson, you got Chase Hunter that averages 16 points a game. You've got Ian. Is it Shiflin, right? Averaging 12.5. Vidker Lock-in averages 11.1, and you've got Chauncey Wiggins who averages 9.8. That kind of rounds out their top 4 scorers. Shiflin averages almost 12 rebounds a game, which is crazy from that perspective. So they've got some size I think that's gonna frustrate, kind of like you said, a bigger Western. But they've got guys that also have tournament experience. Clemson last year went on a run. People thought, not only that, they went on Elite Eight, then they kind of scuffled a little bit early in the season or late in the season, came on strong, made the Elite Eight. But they were a solid team last year, and I think that they are picked to potentially get to the tournament again this season.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume. I think they were preseason ranked, right? I think they're receiving votes still. Chase Hunter is in his 6th year at Clemson, running the point guard spot for him, shooting at like 46% from 3. He's never been higher than a 35% from 3 shooter. So either he has made a miraculous jump into one of the greatest shooters in the country.
Did he sign a new long-term extension like Zakai Ziegler did at Tennessee?
I believe they're on the same plan. They have the same agent.
Probably.
Yeah, the Shiflin guy is the most interesting player on the team. Hunter's the scorer. He's a shooter. But Shiflin is the 4-man at like 6'8", 240. He's a thick man, and he throws dots. He's just out there passing. Like in Mark Pope's system, if he was at the top of the key, he could just throw dots to everybody. He's a great passer, obviously great rebounder. Shiflin is the one that if you're going to try to
Cleveland is bossing Arkansas right now, by the way. Just absolutely manhandling them.
That's Miami.
Yes. Well, it's Arkansas. I did say Arkansas, so I think they know.
I would say Cleveland probably threw some people off.
Yeah, sorry, Cleveland's the player. Yeah,
you definitely threw me off.
I don't like Miami's jerseys. They look very cheap. I do not like them.
Look like a TV show or a movie.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, but the Shiflin guy is very good, and then Lakin, they like to run a lot of stuff through him. He likes to duck in, do posts, definitely more of a post guy, not getting out there shooting. A 6'10" 3 guy who's a shooter is going to be a very strange matchup for us. I would guess Owe gets that matchup, but there's obviously a massive size disadvantage there. So that'll definitely be an interesting part to see who they decide to guard everybody with. Definitely in the starting lineup.
I think the big thing about Kentucky is that they have to really make sure that they don't let the emotion of the crowd. I have no clue if there's going to be a lot of Kentucky fans. There's a lot of cheap, affordable tickets to get in, so I'm sure that blue will get in. In the Carolinas. I mean, yeah. So I think the biggest thing is I heard people say it's late, right? It is late. It's a very late game for an Eastern time zone game. They've got to make sure that they don't kind of let that moment go. Obviously, when they played Duke, you had that little lull where they played where they kind of went down, but they stemmed the tide. But that was also a neutral site game. I don't think that Clemson's as good as Duke, obviously, but that's something they have to watch out for. I think they have to be careful with the size. They haven't faced a team that's this overall, not just big but physical, right? Like Cooper Flagg's not a small dude, but Cooper Flagg's not 60 or senior big. Right, that's the aspect. I think this is a mature team that they have mature players. Kentucky has mature players, and I think Kentucky has to be ready for that because we're not going to throw a lot at them that they haven't seen, just like we haven't. But some of these guys haven't played in an environment as big as this. Owe has obviously. Jackson Robinson has. Lamont Butler has played in big games, obviously. But
they played a national championship.
Yeah, you can't get much better. But Clemson can have a hostile environment. They're not known for it in basketball, but they can, and it's going to be interesting.
21 game non-conference win streak at home. It's been like 4 years since they've lost a non-conference game at home. So they at home in the non-conference, they are excellent at it. For some reason, Clemson doesn't lose at home, despite not being a typical scary environment. You would say, you know what I mean?
If those of you are hearing the kid in the background or think you're hearing a kid, you are. It's my daughter. She's kind of singing along to her pad behind me. She just randomly decided to come sit down next to me and start talking. So that's fine. What do you think? What do you think in terms of defensive pressure Clemson's going to bring tonight? Do you think that they're going to press a lot? Or do you think they're going to sit back and try and go into that maybe press zone and make that Western did and make Kentucky take bad shots or rush shots and make them really feel uncomfortable, and that Kentucky's going to need to score more points in the paint? Or do you think the 3-point shot's going to be there tonight?
So I think that Clemson is going to put a lot of ball pressure. I think that they are going to press a lot. They like to slow things down on the defensive end. They like to have as little defensive possessions as possible. So they like to draw them out. And I think the goal is really make you impatient at a certain point, make you take some of the tough shots that Western forced us into taking because, the first read wasn't there. The second read wasn't there. All of a sudden it's step back three.
Yeah.
It didn't rotate every time with Western because they started getting frustrated. They started getting rushed. Couldn't think of why they weren't able to score until they got settled down, make a couple adjustments. And they were able to extend that lead. So I also don't think Duke is a terrible comparison, just as far as the way the teams somewhat operate, ball pressure, rebounding, good defense, good enough offense, can shoot. So I would say Clemson is like a between of Duke and Western. So you're probably going to need more of a Duke type effort to beat them, I would say.
A Duke type effort. I don't know about that. I think that
more
might be
more than like a Duke than a Western. They're somewhere in between, and they're all similar-ish, more similar than the rest of the teams that we played. So, but I would say they're closer to Duke than they are Western.
We were talking earlier about a couple games ago during the live show about Kobe Brea. And if he was going to come back down to earth, he's come back down to earth a little bit. He's only shooting 61% now from three. Everyone's 3-point percentage has kind of gone down over the last couple of games. Do you think Kentucky rights the ship in terms of 3-pointers today? Because it seems like we've struggled a lot more from the 3-point line over the last two games than even the game we hit 17. We shot a lot of shots. We missed a lot of open shots. That's something we've got to really fix, going into today.
Yeah, I mean, the last two games, I think it's been a lot of pressure, and that's thrown them out of their rhythm a little bit. Hopefully, they've had a chance to work on it now that they see that it's a problem. But to me, if I was Clemson, I would ball pressure and I would switch as much as possible. I think that is the problem that I've found with not having a ton of go-to guys. We talk about the system being end of games. If you can switch, then that can really, really help things. Obviously, there are ways to beat it. They went to things against Western. They started slipping a lot. They started being, more patient, running things more efficiently and trying to be more precise with their actions. But overall, I think that they have to be Chris today because Clemson will turn you over and they will run in fast break and they'll put points on you in a hurry from a team that's not very efficient on offense. So you have to keep them out of transition by limiting your turnovers.
What's the thing tonight that makes you go, if this happens, it worries me. Just kind of in like the first 10 minutes of the game, besides being down like 10.
In the first 10 minutes of the game, I'm expecting Kentucky to take a lead in the first half. Even in Clemson's games, they've tended to start slow. Penn State, I think the San Francisco game was the same. They started slow, and then they kind of pull away in the second half. I think I saw they were top 15 in second half scoring. So I think that I would want to see Kentucky get a lead in the first half. Now, as I'm saying that, I'm remembering that I think Kentucky was like third in second half scoring. So maybe it doesn't matter anyway. But I would want them to get off hot, and I would be worried if they start off shooting poorly, because if they find themselves on a bad shooting night, it could be hard to generate offense.
Yeah, then the crowd gets behind them, and it really starts to become way more of a slugfest. And I think Kentucky doesn't want to get into a slugfest tonight.
No, I mean, obviously Kentucky wants to run as much as possible. and Clemson wants to muck it up. So we'll see which side is able to get done. I think Clemson had Penn State, their slowest game of the season, and I think San Francisco was their slowest game of the season. Somebody was saying so. It'll be about enforcing your tempo and making sure that we play at the high speed that we want to play at, because I think that benefits us more than letting them get set up in the half court.
Miami's already up 11 on Arkansas, by the way, and they almost got a turn. I gotta tell you what, though, I will say this: Adu Thiero is balling this season.
He is very, very good at basketball.
Do you know who Adu Thiero reminds me of in college?
No.
Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade was not a great shooter in college, but his ability, like right there, when he went to the rack, got fouled, off balance, his strength around the rim and ability to get to the bucket is very Dwayne Wade-esque. If he can get his shot to come along, which, you see a lot of players in the NBA do that, like he could potentially be a superstar in at the next level. He's built for the NBA. If he can get his shot down, because he's that strong. I think his game translates to the NBA a little bit more than college. But that was a hell of a take by Adu right there. Miami's still up 9. You've got Villanova is up 13 on Cincinnati, number 14 Cincinnati. South Carolina is up 26-17 on Boston College, and Georgia's up 25-18 on Notre Dame. So that kind of rounds out some of the games. I don't know what other games are going on right now. And the Panthers are losing 2-0. I know nobody cares about that, but I'm a hockey fan, and I just looked, and now I'm upset. So there you go.
Syracuse, Tennessee just started, but literally just started. And California, Missouri is the game we're missing currently. So
who's winning that game?
It is California by 5 with 7 minutes left in the first half.
They were very heavy underdogs, by the way.
9 was the spread. Missouri by 9. I could have sworn somebody said it was at California. Well, it's at Missouri. So.
Yeah, it is. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back here on 102.7 The Game.
Make the most of every lawn with Kubota commercial landscaping equipment. From the productivity-boosting Z700 series mower to the reliable SVL track loader. It's a lineup built to get the job done right. Because when your reputation is on the line, you need equipment that will never let you down. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Check us out today at Hagen's Outdoor Equipment with 3 locations to serve you. Highway 54 in Philpott, Salem Drive in Owensboro, and Power Machinery on Highway 41 in Hanson. We appreciate your business.
Come visit Dano's Cigar Lounge in Owensboro, Kentucky. Choose from over 250 premium cigars out of the walk-in humidor and pair it with a glass of bourbon or an ice-cold beer. Enjoy the unique ambiance that only Dano's Cigar Lounge offers. It's where you want to go to slow down and enjoy yourself. Now open Mondays from 11 to 7. Make sure to follow and like us on Facebook to stay up to date on special events and new inventory. Dano's Cigar Lounge, Highway 54. It's the place to smoke, sip, and socialize.
Greatness doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, focus, and dedication. At Shelter Insurance, we understand that because we put in the hard work and dedication for decades. And that commitment is paid off with award-winning customer service for your auto, home, and life insurance.
For auto, home, life, or business insurance, see Shelter Agent Katie Gunter.
Welcome back to the Bleed Blue Kentucky basketball pregame show on 102.7 The Game. Also, we're streaming live on Instagram, Twitter, X, formerly known as Twitter. Sorry, I'm never going to not call it Twitter, I don't think. Also, we are on Twitch and YouTube. So if you want to watch along and see our ugly mugs as we're talking about this, feel free to do that as well. But in other words, we're just going to keep going and going through. I'm trying to see if there is that. We got to ban that because I don't like when people block user on Facebook, because I don't like when people are trying to put spam links in chat. So there you go. Yeah, don't click on that. If someone said watch the game here, when there's 17 other ways to watch the game on your phone or that. Arkansas has cut the lead down to 5. Just in case anybody was wondering.
He doesn't wear red.
I do notice he doesn't wear red. So one of us. It's all right. He's just he's one of us from that perspective. Clemson is a team. I don't think we've played them since 1933. Is that's I think that's right. We have not played them in basketball a lot.
I had not considered looking at this, but I don't remember ever playing them, which means it probably has been a while. Let's see.
There have been 3 head-to-heads, 1979, 96, and 97. Kentucky leads the all-time series 12-4. Clemson has won 2 of the last 3, 79 and 96.
I was going to say, we're 1-2, though. And, since
the
40s.
The 96 team, Clemson won, beat number 3 Kentucky 71-79. 96 team.
97 team.
No.
November of 96.
No, they won that. 97, they won that game in November 15th, 96.
November of 97, they won.
Clemson won in 96. Clemson
November of 96. So it's season 97, the runner-up team.
No, because they played. No, it's not. Because 95. I get what you're saying. Never mind. Sorry, I get what you're saying now. My bad. Dude, there's a lot's happened today. My brain is not. My brain is not working.
DJ and
Miami is now up 9 again.
But they just got
this is
number 9 is.
So yeah. If anybody wonders why I'm a little off, we had to put our dog down today, and it kind of threw the entire evening off. So I have not had time to prepare like I had planned for the show. So I'm kind of Jaden's carrying a lot of it because of that. I'm trying to catch up with some of the stats. So there you go. I have an excuse.
We're making it work. I think we're having a pretty good time.
I mean, I'm having a blast.
I mean, I'm just watching. I'm watching Billy Richmond take pull up mid-range jumpers on my television.
Pull up after pull up after pull up and miss.
Thank goodness.
This is not our team.
He did. I mean, we would be 15-point underdogs.
Oh my! Could you imagine what we would be staring down the barrel of going into Saturday against Gonzaga? So here's an interesting thing. You and I talked about this, and this is something I think it'd be interesting. It's, with our first pregame show here, we talked about this on our daily live show about where Kentucky would sit through the non-conference schedule. And I think you said 10 and 9 and 2 or 8 and 2
for Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had us losing 2. It was Duke and Gonzaga.
So you had us at 11 and 2 because we had 13 non-conference games, right? I think that's right. I think I had 12 and 1. Yeah, I had Duke, and now it throws it for it. Kentucky winning this game is big for a lot of reasons. Number one, well, look, in fairness, we have a hell of a lot of quad one opportunities yes. But it's big for that reason. If you want a shot at a 1 seed or a 2 seed or even a 3 seed, these are the games you got to win. You got to win these games that are not the hardest games on your schedule, but they're also not gimmies. Then you go on the road. Gonzaga, to me, on Saturday is a no-lose game for Kentucky in terms of seeding schedule March, right? We all want them to win. I want them to win. It's big from that perspective. But if Kentucky were to go lose a close game in Seattle Saturday, I think it would hurt them way less than if they lost a close game tonight.
I'm going to be honest. I think the computer metrics would improve after a close loss to Gonzaga. Because to be honest, Kentucky's schedule has been pretty soft other than the Duke game. They haven't played anybody in the top 100 KenPom. But it picks up.
The get-in price tonight, by the way, is $17.
Picks up in a massive way.
So if you're in the Carolina area and you could get to Clemson, you can get in for $17, which is kind of crazy.
We can't get there.
No, we can't. We can't. To get into Gonzaga, the get-in price is $60, which still is not terrible for a 7 versus 4. But I would argue. I would argue that Gonzaga is a top 5 team, even though they're not ranked 5th right now. I would argue that they're probably top 5 in terms of talent.
I mean, they happen to lose one of those games in the tournament, one of those tournament situations. You can definitely see that they have a weakness. Those stretch 5s. You can play Graham Ike off the court, and they're definitely not the same without him. So. Okay,
Louisville plays Ole Miss tonight. It's an interesting game. Oh, excuse me. It's an interesting game for several reasons. It's interesting in the aspect that Kentucky plays both teams. Ole Miss, I think it's a game that they really need to show because I think there's a lot of doubt about Ole Miss being competitive this season, or maybe being a little not competitive, but being a little overranked. I think that there's some doubt there. Louisville also loses one of their top players this week, so it's going to be interesting to see how they look now. It is in Louisville, so you could, if this was in Ole Miss in Oxford, I would give a huge advantage to Ole Miss, but it's in Louisville. I think that helps a lot. I don't know if Louisville's going to have a good crowd. They have not had really good crowds all season, which is kind of surprising.
Have you seen the spread for the game yet?
Why? What is it?
Don't guess what the spread is for Ole Miss.
Ole Miss probably by 8.
Louisville by 3.
That's fine.
There are 10 ACC, SEC games today.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. The SEC is favored in 9 of the 10, and Louisville was the only ACC favorite in the entire night in 10 games.
Well, that means that the SEC is going to lose a lot of games.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't like that. Well, I mean, you look right here, right? You got you got Miami over here. Like, look at this. Nigel Pack and Matthew Cleveland have 21 points combined, 9 of 11.
He was questioned. They rolled him out 2 days. Or somebody reported he was out 2 days ago, and then Miami yesterday said he was questionable to play, and now he's playing amazing. So.
Yeah, look, Miami's one of those teams where if they're on, they beat anybody in the country. If they're off, though, they could lose to like Lindsey Wilson College.
Yes, which they haven't done to Lindsey Wilson, but they've lost to their 4-game losing streak is Drake, Oklahoma State, VCU, and Charleston Southern. So
Drake's not a bad. Drake's probably like the least bad loss.
I ranked Drake in my top 25.
Drake basically got every good D2 player.
D2 All-American team.
And brought them in, and they're balling. I mean, if you brought in the D2 All-American team, that's probably a top 25 team. I mean, are they ranked? Did they make it in the AP poll? I can't remember. I don't think they did either.
They did, but they beat Vandy already. I think they beat an ACC team. So Drake is for real. I would not want to play Drake because that's going to be your storyline in an NCAA tournament game. They'll lose a couple games that they shouldn't to like some bad teams.
Drake is 6-0. They're 6-0.
Yeah, they'll end up like a 10 or 11 seed, and they will beat somebody. And I hope that is not us.
Well, I mean, I hope we're not a 6 or a 7. So that would they've beat Stephen Austin, Florida Gulf Coast, Miami, FAU, Vandy, and Georgia Southern. We played Georgia Southern, right?
Yes.
They beat Georgia Southern by 14.
That's who we just played. That was the fight game.
So
what do you think of the fight? We haven't talked about the fight. The Black Friday fight.
Was it really a fight though?
I mean, no, but it's about as good as you get on the call.
I think it's about as good as you're going to get with Kentucky. I mean, they're pretty composed. I mean, you saw Mark Pope walk in there. It was really their player that was trying to really cost them. I didn't understand it, and I think I sent this out in the group chat, right? Like, I didn't understand why they would do that in that point in time because it was a close game. They were playing well, and then that basically woke Kentucky up, and Kentucky just absolutely railroaded them.
As he edge spears the guy, or Amari Williams, that was a very interesting game all around. I don't really know what was going on because it felt like they had us exactly where they wanted us, and then they decided to make it a fist fight.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then at that moment, I realized how many players from New York we have. As I started looking at how tough our team was going to be.
Yeah, that was probably not a good decision. Cincinnati has clawed their way all the way back, almost all the way back. They're on a 13-2 scoring run right now. The game, it's a 2-point game now. Villanova was up 13, and now they are only up 2. We're going to take our last break. We'll be back with predictions. We'll kind of talk through some of these games, see where we think that maybe some of them will land. We'll be right back with the final segment of our first pregame show right after these messages.
Hi, this is Travis Holtree from Foreman Watson Holtree. Growing up in church, I recall the words to a hymn we sang, which said, "Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God has done." As the holidays approached, the attorneys at Foreman Watson Holtree considered a true blessing to represent so many people and businesses and help them with their legal needs. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from Foreman Watson Holtree. Dedicated to you, committed to justice. FWHlegal.com.
Brad Emerson Heating and Cooling is expanding their team. We're on the lookout for experienced licensed service technicians. Benefits, competitive pay, paid holidays, vacations, and a health savings account after 90 days. Plus a company vehicle for your travels. Contact us at 270-729-BRAD. Brad Emerson's Heating and Cooling is a proud provider of Rude Home Comfort Heating AC systems. Celebrating the tried and true. Rely on Rude. Call 270-729-BRAD today.
LB Towing and Automotive Repair is Owensboro's full-service automotive repair and towing company. Founded by the late Larry Bowling, LB is a family-owned and operated business with decades of experience. LB provides top-of-the-line work at affordable prices. Whether you're on the road or on the track, give LB a call today at 270-685-4740. It's LB Towing and Automotive Repair on West 5th Street in Owensboro.
ATTC is the proud title sponsor of the Hancock County Hornets. ATTC Manufacturing and Tell City's hiring for hourly and maintenance positions, as well as direct hiring opportunities for production workers. Starting pay up to $20.40 per hour for production workers and an extra $1 per hour for second shift. Excellent benefits at low cost. Apply at attcmfg.com/careers or in person at 10455 State Road 37, Tell City. At ATTC, our top priority is quality and caring for our employees, customers, and community.
At Fort Wendell and Company Construction, we're building our reputation as a high-quality custom builder in Southern Indiana and Western Kentucky. Visit FortWendell.com to view our gallery of home, office, and commercial work. Fort Wendell and Company says go Marksman.
Welcome back to the final segment of the Bleed Blue Basketball Pregame Show on 102.7 The Game. That did scare the dog I still have just yelped really loud. That was weird. Scared me half to death. So let's Jaden, let's kind of take a look around college basketball real quick and see. Man, that was weird that cut out. What are you looking around the ACC SEC Challenge? Obviously, this Miami game right now, Arkansas Miami. Do you think Miami holds on and wins the game?
I do actually. I mean, I don't have faith in John Calipari coach's team to make the plays down the stretch. So as they just literally threw the ball straight out of bounds. So I think I'm gonna roll with Miami finishing it off.
Tennessee is already up 6 on Syracuse. You like the Vols in that matchup?
I'm surprised it's still 6. The 19-point spread felt like too little. Syracuse is awful.
What about Louisville and Ole Miss tonight? I think Ole Miss probably wins because Louisville's not full strength. That was a big loss for them. So I think Ole Miss probably takes the win tonight.
So Ole Miss, I actually think is pretty good. They lost on a buzzer beater to Purdue, or else they'd be undefeated with a win over Purdue and probably number 15 in the country heading into this game.
California is up 36-33 and they were pretty big away dogs. So they're still up there. South Carolina is starting to really open it up on Boston College. They are up 36-19. Later games tonight, you've got Oklahoma taking on Georgia Tech. Oklahoma, I think, is kind of one of the surprise teams in the SEC right now. They're 7-0. They're ranked 21st. You've got Wake Forest at 7-2 taking on Texas A&M tonight. Texas A&M somehow still ranked. I don't know how. They're ranked 22nd. A&M hosts them. You've got FSU on the road at LSU. LSU's 4.5-point favorites. I kind of think I might like FSU in that game. I'm not gonna lie. Hamilton is a really good coach. And I think that's a pretty good matchup. So, but tomorrow you've got some monster games going on in the ACC SEC Challenge. You got Alabama at North Carolina. I'm taking the Tide in this one. I don't know what you think.
So it's finally come out now. Carolina's a 1.5-point favorite. I think I'm gonna take Alabama.
I agree.
I think that North Carolina might try to shoot to keep up with them, and I think they'll shoot themselves out of it instead.
You've got Virginia at Florida. Florida is 8-0, ranked 13th. I think Florida's pretty good. They're 16.5-point favorites. I'm taking the Gators tomorrow.
I'm also taking
the Flaters.
Yes, I'm taking Florida as well. I think they're very good.
Number 18, Pitt visits Mississippi State. Mississippi State is a 4.5-point favorite. I don't trust Mississippi State. I don't fully trust them. So I'm gonna probably take Pitt in this game.
Yeah, Pitt has had kind of a split record versus a bunch of like pretty decent teams. Games at Mississippi State, I think Hubbard will get it done. I'll take Mississippi State.
Texas travels to NC State tomorrow in the SEC ACC Challenge. Texas, I think, they thought might be pretty good. They picked Texas to finish above Kentucky. I don't think that's remotely close to happening. But Texas needs this win, I think, because for just perception for the rest of the season. NC State's a hard place to play. I think the Wolfpack do win this game, though.
I think I'm with you. I think I'm going to take the upset, the home dog.
And then in the big game tomorrow night, you got number 2 Auburn going on the road to face Duke at Cameron. The line is not out yet. I still don't see the line on it. Duke 1.5. Okay, it wasn't on. So if it's there, I didn't hear. This is a tough one because anytime you go into Cameron, that's not an easy place to play. Now, I think Cameron's lost a little bit of the shine and being really like impossible to play at. I think it's lost that a little bit compared to years past. I think Auburn wins this game, though, man. Like Auburn, if Auburn wins this game, I think you got to put them at number 1. They're very experienced. I think that they're very physical. I like Auburn in this game.
Yeah, I already had Auburn at number 1. Kansas probably deserves it. I mean, their starting lineup is, other than the Tennessee has a lineup which is by far and away the most efficient lineup in the country, not even close. But Kansas' starting lineup is second. So Kansas probably should be number 1, but I had Auburn number 1. I'm actually going to take Duke. I don't think
you love Duke. You think they're so good.
I do love Duke. Just this team. I do think that this team is built well. But the reason I'm actually taking Auburn is because I don't think Auburn is good enough to beat all of these good teams in a row to start the season. And I don't think Duke is bad enough to lose all of the big games in a row to start the season. So I think both teams are just going to regress to the mean. And I'm going to take Duke to get the home win.
All right, so that brings us to tonight. Kentucky and Clemson. Who do you got?
I flipped back and forth for a long time. I really did, just because good Western sounds like a recipe for disaster to me, and that's kind of how I've laid it out to myself. The reason I've ended up picking Kentucky is I think that they figured out a little bit of what to do with the pressure. You could see in the second half, especially towards the end of the second half, Jackson Robinson especially decided to start cutting and getting more movement and then playing off the pressure, and they started figuring that out. Plus, Lamont Butler played at San Diego State, one of the slowest places in the country, so I don't think he's going to be uncomfortable playing in a slower offense than we have been. And obviously him having the ball most of the time, I think that's a pretty important aspect. So I'm going to end up taking the Cats in what is a really close game and gets extended with some free throws and stuff at the end. I think I had Cats 83-75.
You did, yep. And who's your MVP?
Jackson Robinson, because I think that with the pressure, it's going to take the adaptations and some of the things that come off of the base stuff, and I think that Jackson's the most comfortable with that because of the experience with it.
I got Kentucky tonight. I got them 81-72. I also have Jackson Robinson as my MVP. My reasoning for that is, though, he did not play well offensively against Duke, and I think he's going to want to really come out and prove a point in this matchup, just because it's a nationally televised game. I like him a little bit more in this game than I do to really kind of have a big monster offensive impact that I do maybe this weekend against Gonzaga. Obviously, we're going to talk a lot more about that. That's the marquee matchup of the week, but we got to take care of business tonight. I think the Cats do get it done, though. I think they win by 9. I don't think it's necessarily comfortable. I think it's a very close game, and Kentucky kind of pulls away at the end.
I don't know that Clemson has a great matchup in the starting lineup for Jackson. So I think that could make him more comfortable, just because their 3 is 6'10", kind of a stretch big type thing, a little bit slower, and then the 2 is 6'1". So Jackson's going to have some advantages against pretty much everyone that Clemson could put out in the starting lineup. I think he can start hot, and I think Jackson ends up being the person that gets us the win.
Yeah, I agree. Look, I think this is a big game for Kentucky, obviously, tonight. I know the fans are really excited about it. I wish it was a little bit earlier, but it's fun because we get to do the pregame show for it. But it's going to be a late night, and then it's going to be another late night on Saturday. So, but I think I think we're ready for it. And I think this Kentucky team is built for games like this. This is a very March type game. This is the type of team you want to see Kentucky play. Just like I think Western was kind of a March type game. Wow. Yeah. Some of the bait that bait stunk was crazy. But look, if you guys aren't streaming, you're listening to this live. We're gonna do a live watch along on Twitter. You can follow us at Bleed B Network on Twitter, also on Instagram. It's at Bleed Blue Network. We're gonna go live there. We're gonna do a live watch along. It'll be me and Jane. We're gonna be joined by Rando as well. So that should be a fun time tonight. And we will be back with you on the Bleed Blue Basketball pregame show Saturday, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central Time to preview the Cats and the Dogs. Excited for this one. Go Cats, and hopefully we get a win tonight. And thanks, everyone.
You've been listening to the Bleed Blue Kentucky pregame show on 102.7 The Game. This has been a broadcast service of Cromwell Media. Join us next game day for more Kentucky pregame action. Thanks for joining us.